"It was just a blowjob," he said, as I burst into tears. We were in the kitchen when my husband confessed to cheating on me, and in that moment I was very tempted to pick up a knife and end everything right there. It all started while he was cooking breakfast. I heard his phone vibrate on the kitchen table. When I looked over, I noticed a message from someone called Amber. Amber? Naturally, I was curious, so I punched in his password to unlock his phone and read it. The blood immediately drained from my face. "Hey, boo-boo, hope you had a good weekend. Can't wait to see you at work and wrap my lips around your..." I dropped the phone. My mouth went dry, and I could feel my stomach tightening as a rush of panic, anger, and complete disgust overcame me. Standing in front of me was the man I loved, the man I trusted with my heart, the man I thought would never betray me. As he heard the phone drop, he turned around and saw me. Tears were already streaming down my cheeks, and all I could say was, "How? How could you do this to me?" He didn't utter a single word, but he knew exactly what I was talking about. He just looked at me, then looked at his feet, then he started sobbing like a baby. But what he said next changed my life forever. And as crazy as this might sound, it changed it for the better. And I'll explain why in just a minute. He quickly broke down and confessed to everything, how he had met this girl, this intern, this homewrecker, Amber, how he had one drink too many at the company Christmas party, and how he then found himself in the copy room with his pants around his ankles while she got down on her knees and gave him oral sex. Initially, he thought that it was just a stupid mistake, a drunken mishap, a once-off, and he felt very, very guilty. But as the days and weeks went by, his guilt was slowly replaced by cravings and lust. What happened in the copy room that night was something very intense that he had never experienced before. So he let it happen again, and again, and again. I was completely overwhelmed and was shaking with rage, but I just had to know everything if I was ever going to be able to trust him again, and I had to know why this bitch would try to ruin my marriage. It turned out that this intern, this skank, Amber, had been giving him oral sex multiple times a week in his office ever since that Christmas party. The entire time he was confessing to me, I was hysterical, crying uncontrollably. In that moment, I didn't quite know what to do. But there was one thing I was sure of in all of this. It's that my husband was going to be sleeping on the couch for quite a while. But I was also confused. From the moment we first started dating, Nick never seemed to care much for oral sex, so why was he letting some intern do it? What did she have that I didn't? I just couldn't get this nagging question out of my head. What was she doing that I wasn't? I wanted to confront Amber to let her have a piece of my mind, and part of me wanted to forgive Nick, while the other part of me wanted to castrate him. That's when I knew I was at a crossroads. I could slam the door shut to the only man I had ever loved, or I could do everything in my power to make sure Nick never desired sexual intimacy with another woman ever again. I could become the kind of woman that all men dream about, the kind of woman who creates emotions so strong in a man's mind that he uncontrollably becomes addicted to being with me and only me. So after almost 2 weeks of moping and feeling sorry for myself, I decided to take my first steps to becoming the kind of sexual goddess that every man dreams of being with. I decided to learn every oral sex technique possible to make my man or any man cry out in pure ecstasy. I decided that from now on, I was going to be the one in control. It was the first time in my life that I confronted a brutally difficult situation with complete determination, and no one could stop me. Or so I thought. Everywhere I looked led to confusion and disappointment. I started with an obvious choice, watching pornography. While it can teach you about being confident, I quickly realized that almost everything else in porn is a complete sham. I mean, does a group of 7 guys standing around one tiny, fake-breasted woman sound realistic to you? Then I bought book after book on oral sex written by so-called experts with PhDs from prestigious universities. The problem with these experts is that they spend all their time in a lab doing things like experimenting on mice instead of actually spending time having sex or interviewing the people who really know what works. And those women's magazines, you know the ones I'm talking about, the magazines you find in your local grocery store, they have lists of hundreds of sex tips in almost every issue. At best, you'll realize that most of the tips in these lists are completely ridiculous. At worst, you may actually injure yourself or your man. In complete frustration, I was about to give up, but somehow I managed to stumble upon this oral sex master. I was surfing online for tips on how to give great oral sex or something similar, and I must have found some article or link on a site or something, because I discovered this guy called Sean Jameson, who was allegedly some kind of sex expert. He had this website and had been featured pretty much everywhere and seemed to know what he was talking about. He said that he could teach me how to give my man oral sex that was so intense he would never desire intimacy from another woman. When I heard that, I just laughed. I thought it sounded too good to be true. But then I watched one of his videos, just a simple video, kind of like the one you're watching right now. This guy taught me some astonishing things on how to pleasure your man in a way that turns him on and profoundly sexually satisfies him like no other woman can, and created a situation where my husband is now completely and totally devoted and in love with me and only me. The first technique Sean Jameson taught me about giving my man intensely satisfying oral sex was eye-opening. See, the single most important thing you can do when giving your man oral sex is be enthusiastic. Seriously, it's not some crazy technique using your lips or tongue, it's simply to be enthusiastic. I was blown away. It was just so stupidly simple and obvious. Being enthusiastic totally changed how I approached any kind of sexual intimacy with Nick, not just oral sex. Not only does being enthusiastic massage his ego and cause him to feel deeply connected to you whenever you get physical with him, it starts a chemical process inside his brain causing him to need you so intensely that he won't be able to make himself interested in anyone else but you. It also made for the most fierce and emotional sex we've ever had. Even if you know every oral sex technique that you could possibly use with your man, whether it's licking him this way, sucking him that way, or even deep-throating him, if you lack enthusiasm, then your man isn't going to feel particularly sexually satisfied, and he definitely won't feel like you're in the moment connecting with him. The second vital thing Sean Jameson taught me was the go first principle. The go first principle taught me how to initiate oral sex or any kind of intimacy with my man that reignited a storm of addictive passion in a relationship. You know that feeling of being wanted, desired, and needed so badly by a man who can't take his eyes off of you and uses every opportunity to get closer to you? It's completely intoxicating, and the go first principle is what allowed me to start experiencing this. You see, as our relationship had progressed, I'd fallen into a dangerous routine with Nick, just like many of my friends had too. I'd always relied on him to make the first move and take the reins when it came to intimacy and sex and even oral sex. As a result, he stopped feeling desirable or attractive. And by the way, if you don't make your man feel at least a little desirable or attractive, you're inflicting a potentially disastrous blow to your relationship. Since using the go first principle, I feel like Nick has suddenly got the libido of a high schooler, and I'm certainly not complaining. The third thing I learned from Sean Jameson is that there is so much more to a good blowjob than just using your mouth on him. If you're not focusing equal amounts of time on his balls, his nearby erogenous zones, what you do with your hands, how you use oral sex either as foreplay or as the main course, then you are making many drastic and very dangerous mistakes. While learning these techniques and many others from Sean Jameson's Blowjob Bible, myself and my man were able to eventually reconcile. There was a lot of arguing and shouting, and I have to admit that I cried almost every day. But slowly and surely, I started to heal. We started to heal. When we started sleeping in the same bed again, I didn't want to use all of my newly learned moves from the Blowjob Bible right away. I just wasn't ready for intimacy yet. I thought a week would be enough time, but it wasn't until 3 weeks of sleeping in the same bed that I felt truly ready. That next Saturday night, after dinner and a bottle and a half of wine between us, we were at home, upstairs in the bedroom. We were standing by our bed, and Nick had his arms around me, holding me, softly kissing me on my neck just like he did when we first met. Now, I wish I could say that I was ready to go at this point, knowing I had all these powerful oral sex techniques from the blowjob Bible floating through my head, but I still felt a bit reluctant. Well, that was until I remembered the go first principle. I turned around, pushed Nick onto the bed, slowly slid his jeans off, and enthusiastically started to perform the triple treat on him, one of Sean Jameson's most powerful moves in the blowjob Bible. When I looked up, I was shocked. I've never seen Nick look so happy or turned on. I couldn't believe it. What I'd learned from the blowjob Bible was actually working. Any fears I had began to melt away and were replaced with a newfound confidence. From the triple treat technique, I smoothly transitioned to another oral sex technique called the wild washing machine. As I began performing the wild washing machine on Nick, he started making sounds I've never heard him make. The way he was grunting and groaning and moaning, it really turned me on. I've never felt so wanted in my life. For 30 minutes I teased him, pleasured him, and made him succumb to me using only my mouth and hands. When he finally came, he was so loud I was a little worried that one of our neighbors would call the police. I don't think I've ever felt so satisfied and feminine and powerful in my life, despite the fact that I wasn't even the one who orgasmed. Afterwards, as we lay in bed together, he held me, saying nothing, just smiling. Then, after recovering, he managed to get some words out. "Where did that come from?" I just smiled and kissed him before we fell asleep in each other's arms, still in awe of the newfound skills I had just learned. But that was just the beginning. At first, I didn't fully understand the consequences of unleashing Sean's oral sex techniques on my man. Once I discovered their spellbinding power, I was able to give him more intense, brain-melting pleasure with a few flickers of my tongue than any intern or ex-girlfriend ever could. To be perfectly honest, seeing that jealous look my man now gets anytime another guy so much as glances at me makes me feel more wanted and desired by him than I ever thought possible. And I never thought I'd say this, but one night when we were out at a bar, I overheard him bragging to his buddies about my skills. I know I should have been at least a little bit angry, but as crazy as this is going to sound, I felt proud of myself. The truly magical thing about these oral sex techniques Sean taught me is that you can perform them all without ever needing to do anything slutty or degrading or weird. It's a powerful feeling looking into your man's eyes right before they roll back into his head, and he loses himself in pure, uncontrollable bliss, kickstarting an uncontrollable chemical reaction in his brain that bonds him to you forever. One of my close friends, who's a family doctor, also read the Blowjob Bible and described this bonding process perfectly in a slightly crazy email she sent me after using some of these oral sex techniques on her boyfriend. It was like when a mother holds her baby for the first time. Chemicals and hormones immediately flood your brain, creating a bond that's unbreakable between you and your baby. After using Sean's techniques, it was like this process happened to my man, with those same chemicals and hormones flooding his brain. He's become totally devoted to me. He now blows off his buddies just to spend time with me, and he's even started making excuses at work so he could leave at lunchtime and get in some intimate time before the kids get home from school. These chemicals and hormones she's talking about are called serotonin, vasopressin, and oxytocin. When you perform the oral sex techniques from the Blowjob Bible on your man, you will cause these very same chemicals to flood into his brain, creating a lust-filled, devoted bond with him. It's one of the most satisfying feelings in the world, being your man's sexual obsession, and by allowing yourself to learn these same oral techniques, you'll quickly find that you too have the power to experience this, along with creating a deeper, more intimate connection with him. The first thing Sean taught me is the fantasy flicking technique. The fantasy flicking technique is one that I often use when I start giving Nick oral sex. Although it's easy to perform, there's something wonderfully addicting about seeing your man squirming and writhing in delightful agony every time I use it. Next, I discovered the whirl and twirl. This technique alone is enough to put your man over the edge in seconds. Despite the whirl and twirl being so easy to perform, Your man will think you are performing some kind of witchcraft on him as he loses control to you and slips into a state of mesmerizing ecstasy. Quick question. What is the most important, most sensitive spot on your man that you absolutely must focus on to ensure you give him maximum pleasure? Inside the Blowjob Bible, you're going to learn its exact location, along with 5 thrilling techniques that work most effectively on this powerful area to trigger a flood of those chemicals and hormones I talked about earlier inside your man's brain. As oxytocin, vasopressin, and serotonin rush into the pleasure centers of your man's brain, he will be hypnotically forced to become sexually obsessed with you and only you. You're also going to discover Sean's notorious wild washing machine routine that I talked about earlier. If you like the idea of hearing your man moan wildly as he gives himself completely to you, then the wild washing machine routine will quickly become one of your go-to favorites. In fact, you shouldn't be surprised if your man has trouble forming coherent sentences in the moments after you use this technique on him. Listen, oral sex can be highly pleasurable using only your lips, tongue, and mouth. But as Sean teaches, if you're not using your hands, then you're missing out on doubling or even tripling the pleasurable erotic sensations you could be giving your man. Inside the Blowjob Bible, you're going to discover Sean's step-by-step roadmap that will teach you how to expertly caress, massage, and stroke him with your hands during oral sex. He's going to be unable to do anything but focus his attention completely on you as you stimulate him in multiple different ways using every finger on your hands in concert with your mouth, tongue, and lips. But the Blowjob Bible is not just about pleasuring your man. It's about making a profound, lasting emotional connection with him. That's why Sean teaches you exactly when and how to make deeply compelling eye contact with him so that he forever associates intense pleasure with your touch alone. Using the 4 tempestuous testicle techniques is going to have a very intriguing effect on your man. He's going to quickly realize that you've suddenly become more alluring, more attractive, and more satisfying to be with than even his deepest, most intense sexual fantasies. These techniques were so devastatingly effective at creating a cascade of addictive pleasure in Nick that he often begs me to perform them any time he senses a chance of intimacy with me. Effectively using foreplay and smoothly building up to giving your man a blowjob is surprisingly simple. Just focus your attention on what Sean calls the 3 overlooked erogenous zones. Focusing your attention on these 3 overlooked erogenous zones is like taking a shortcut that hacks inside your man's brain and gives you complete control over his arousal. If you love drawing out intimate moments with your man so that it becomes a sort of twisted, exhilarating marathon of pleasure for both of you, then you're going to be completely blown away by the triple treat technique that I talked about earlier. This extraordinarily intense technique overloads your man's senses, shutting down his ability to think properly and forcing him to focus every ounce of his attention on you. The triple treat is the closest you can come to tricking your man into an orgasm-induced coma that will take him hours to fully recover from. But the Blowjob Bible also taught me to focus on my own enjoyment when performing oral sex on Nick. Using Sean's 5 simple taste tricks, I no longer have to worry about how he tastes when going down on him. These 5 taste tricks have the added benefit of completely changing the texture and taste when I perform oral sex on him. Warning: this next technique is not for the faint of heart. Sean also teaches a number of super advanced techniques in the Blowjob Bible, like showing you exactly how to find his G-spot. And yes, guys have a G-spot too. You're going to quickly master how to play him like an orchestra conductor, creating soul-shaking music, effortlessly making your man contort his body, strain his arms, and tear the bedsheets as you give him wave after wave of screaming pleasure. Don't be surprised when your man accuses you of befriending a porn star after you unleash this last technique on him. And if there were more time, I'd tell you about the rest of the Blowjob Bible. About what positions and locations work best, what steps you need to take to effortlessly build up to oral sex so that before you even lay your lips on him, he's shaking with anticipation. And most importantly, inside the Blowjob Bible, you will also discover how to finish off your blowjobs so that he erupts like a volcano and submits himself completely to you. I'm guessing that you now feel your pulse racing and have a yearning for this same incredible power over your man, to make him desire you with every part of his being, to have him need you, crave you, and lust for you. How much is it worth to have this complete control over your man's thoughts? How much is it worth to create a yearning deep within his soul for you? How much is it worth to have him completely, physically, and emotionally obsessed with you? So many women think that spending thousands or even tens of thousands of dollars on counseling is the way to make him crave you and bond with you. Others think that hoping everything works out is the best way to keep their man happy and satisfied. What really blows my mind is that many of my friends have spent tens of thousands of dollars on their college education, sometimes hundreds of thousands, yet they barely invest anything into building a truly deep, intimate relationship with their man. And when I ask them what's more important, a college degree or having a happy, satisfying relationship with a guy who is crazy and obsessed with them, the answer I get is always the same. Every sensible person values having a great relationship with their man way more. Yet these same unhappy, unsatisfied women have this blind spot when it comes to investing in the success of their relationships. It's nuts! Thankfully, the smart women of the world are now beginning to take the time and make the effort to keep their relationship happy and mutually satisfying, and they're taking the clever shortcuts to do it. Think about this for a second. What do you think would be a fair price for the Blowjob Bible and keeping your man sexually obsessed with you? And remember, you only pay for the Blowjob Bible once. There's no monthly fee, no recurring payments, or any crap like that. If you're being totally honest, I bet you'd say $3.97 or more would be completely fair to change your man's attitude and make him addicted to you. I mean, I bet you think that was a bargain to never have to feel the anxiety of wondering whether your man is thinking only of you or is fantasizing about some ex-girlfriend every single time you're intimate. But I'm a mom of 3 wonderful kids, and as you probably know yourself, kids aren't cheap. So while $3.97 is a total bargain, it may be too much for you. So I think you'll be excited to learn that I've convinced Sean Jameson to do something kind of crazy for the next few days. I convinced him to give you the Blowjob Bible program for a single one-time payment of $97, and if you take action right now, he'll give it to you for 50% off this already heavily discounted price. That's right. Just click the Add to Cart button below and you'll get the complete program for the giveaway price of $47. But you must act now. I know what it's like to be on the fence, but Sean may have to eliminate the discount. He's telling me that he can't continue to operate this site for much longer if he's just giving the Blowjob Bible program away at such a heavily discounted price. If you're still seeing this page, then it means he hasn't wiped out the discount yet. But if you return in a few hours and can't get the discount anymore, please don't be angry at me or yourself. If you pass on this opportunity now, there is nothing I can do for you. And because I want to make sure you are completely satisfied with the intense oral sex techniques inside the Blowjob Bible program, I've convinced Sean to offer you an unprecedented guarantee. Simply try out the astonishingly powerful techniques in the Blowjob Bible system. See for yourself what it feels like to have a guy shudder, gasp, and moan when you use them on him. If you don't feel that the system is worth at least double the discounted price you're paying today, then just shoot Sean an email at sean@badgirlsbible.com anytime over the next 60 days, and you will get every red cent returned to you. The reason he's so happy to offer this guarantee is because he knows you'll adore everything you're about to experience with these oral sex techniques, just like I did and my man did. The very same techniques that thousands of other women just like you are already using to enjoy passionate, intense intimacy with their man. All you have to do now is click the Add to Cart button below to start changing your relationship and your life today. If you're still wondering whether the Blowjob Bible program is right for you, then I want to make this a no-brainer decision so that you are armed with every possible advantage and tool to make your man completely and utterly sexually devoted to you. This is why I'm giving you 5 very special, secret gifts that will give you incredible power to create an everlasting, intimate bond with your man. First, you're going to get Sean's Deep Throat the Easy Way program. As you can probably guess, Deep Throat the Easy Way is going to take your oral sex skills to a level that will blindside your man with pleasure. You'll learn Sean's dramatically simple step-by-step process to reduce your gag reflex completely to 0 and perform the type of oral sex on him that very few women can even attempt. You're also going to get Sean's porn star sexual confidence system. This system will make your anxieties and fears melt away, transforming you into a glowingly confident sexual goddess in his eyes. Instead of worrying or feeling anxious when you're getting physical with your man, thanks to the porn star's sexual confidence system, your anxieties will melt away and the only thing on your mind will be how much fun you're having. Frisky Foreplay is the third bonus you're getting. The Frisky Foreplay course was designed by Sean to teach you exactly what you need to do to slowly and steadily build insane amounts of physical tension with your man. When using these foreplay techniques, don't be surprised if your man starts acting like a desperate, horny teenager as you force him to become more and more aroused and turned on. Your fourth bonus course is the one I wish I had years ago. Stop Him Cheating will give you the necessary tools to make sure your man can't think of any other woman but you. It's like a covert form of black magic, subtly changing his thoughts so that you are the only one he thinks about when you're together, and more importantly, you'll be the only one he thinks about when you're not together. The fifth and final bonus is Sean Jameson's famous dirty talking program, Dirty Mouth, and it's only available to those of you who act now. Inside Dirty Mouth, Sean will show you how to turn your man on, build massive amounts of sexual tension with him, and make sex far more thrilling for both of you, all by simply whispering a few simple phrases in his ear. It's going to feel like you've been given the keys to his mind and now control every one of his fantasies. Now let's add all these bonus courses and programs together so you can see for yourself what an unbelievable bargain you're getting. With your special limited time discount I mentioned earlier, you get the complete Blowjob Bible system for just $47, but you're also getting Deep Throat the Easy Way, Porn Star Sexual Confidence, Frisky Foreplay, Stop Him Cheating, and Sean's infamous dirty talking program, Dirty Mouth. Each of these bonus courses alone are worth at least $97. So if you have a calculator, that comes to a grand total of $582. But using your limited time discount, you'll get the Blowjob Bible system and all 5 bonus courses for less than the cost of a new dress and shoes. Let me ask you something. If you went shopping for new clothes in your favorite store and one of the assistants in the store told you that for today only, you could get $582 worth of clothes for just $47, what would you say? Of course, you'd say yes, any smart woman would. So take advantage of this amazing deal. Simply click the big Add to Cart button right now. Then all you need to do is fill in your payment details on the next page. When you do that, you will get instant access to the entire Blowjob Bible system and your bonus courses. That means in 1 minute from now, you can download and read the Blowjob Bible on your phone, computer, or even tablet, so you can access it anywhere and anytime. So click the button below right now, enter your payment details, and start learning these powerful oral sex techniques that have been proven to make your man sexually devoted to you. You're going to wake up tomorrow feeling something that you've never felt before. That feeling of control, of having a man that will do anything to keep you to himself. Experiencing new levels of intimacy with him and delight in how he looks at you like a lion stalking his prey. If you're like most women who have already experienced the joy of the Blowjob Bible, you're going to enjoy having a secret weapon that controls his heart and his mind. But just like I was once at a crossroads, now you too are also facing a crossroads. You have a choice. You could cross your fingers, then hope and pray that somehow you figure out how to make your man feel intense lust and devotion for you. But I think we both know what'll happen if you do this. You probably notice a painful feeling of regret and anxiety just thinking about this option. It feels like a missed opportunity, and nobody wants that. That's exactly why you need to consider taking option 2. Say yes to yourself right now. Click the Add to Cart button below, enter your payment details, and you will have instant access to the Blowjob Bible system. Even better, with the 60-day money-back guarantee, you're not risking anything. And don't forget, with my special discount, you're getting the entire system for half price. If you don't feel like your man is as intimately bonded to you as you want him to be, and you want him to look at you like he wants to ravish you, then make a very simple decision right now. You've got something incredibly powerful in front of you. All you have to do is reach out and grab it. Click the Add to Cart button below this video right now, and I personally promise you'll be glad you did. I've got to be honest. I don't think I would have been able to live with the regret of losing Nick if I hadn't done everything possible to fix and enhance our relationship. Of course, we do have small bumps here and there, just like every happy, healthy couple does, but I've easily been able to handle them. After all, Nothing feels better than when Nick looks completely vulnerable as he gazes deep into my eyes and tells me how much he loves me after another night together filled with intense passion. I truly hope you give yourself the chance to experience this same passion with your man. All you have to do now is take action.